Now that you know what an informational article is, and now that you know what brainstorming is, we are going to brainstorm topics for an informational article. You're going to do that using this handout. Before we begin, please take a moment to put your name and your homeroom at the top of your paper. And let's talk about the directions. The directions say, brainstorm at least 6 different topics that you may want to use for your informational article. Once you've chosen a topic, add additional bubbles with details relating to that topic. This assignment is worth 20 points. So you're going to begin by writing in the bubbles things that you know a lot about and that you might be interested in researching if you don't necessarily know a lot about those topics. So a topic that I know quite a bit about is Scotland and Scottish history. So I might write something like Jacobite Rising of 1745. That is a war that I know quite a bit about and something that I would also enjoy researching. So I would like you to come up with 6 different topics that you might want to research. Now you can pause the video, come up with 6 different topics. Once you've filled up all 6 bubbles, hit play, and we will go over what to do next. All right, everybody, we are back. I have 6 topics that I know quite a bit about. So the topics that I have written down are the Jacobite Rising of 1745, which I wrote down before we paused, had our break. I wrote down King Henry VIII because I know a lot about King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Harry Potter, if you didn't already know, kind of a Harry Potter nut. I know a lot about that. Vegan foods, so these are foods that don't have any meat or dairy, and I have tried to be a vegan for a little while, so I know quite a bit about vegan foods. The bubonic plague, I know a lot about that. It was a plague that killed tons and tons and tons of people back in the Middle Ages, and it's actually really interesting. And the last one I wrote down was dog training. Little known fact, before I was a teacher, I trained dogs. So now that I have my 6 topics, I need to do the second part of my directions. It says, once you've chosen a topic, add additional bubbles with details relating to that topic. So I think that I am going to write about the bubonic plague because that sounds like a fun idea today. So I'm going to pause the video and let you add some details about whichever topic you're choosing. And I'm going to add my details, and then we'll come back together once you hit the play button again. So go ahead and pause, figure out what you're going to write about, and add some details. Okay, and we are back. So just before the break, I said that I was thinking of writing about the bubonic plague, and I needed to add some details. So I added at least 3 details. And that's what I would like you to do. So my 3 details are that the bubonic plague had some weird and wacky treatments. It was caused by unsanitary conditions, and it had some pretty gross symptoms and often resulted in death. So I'm just going to zoom in so you can see what I did. There we are. So that's what I did. All right, so now that I'm done with that, take a look at this little arrow right here. It says turn over. So we need to turn over our paper and figure out what to do next. On the next page, it says choose a topic. We're going to zoom in, take a look at the question. All right, choose a topic. Using your brainstorming web for reference, choose a topic for your informational article. Write a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph explaining why you chose this topic. So you're going to be using this handy dandy handout that you just worked on to write your paragraph. And if for some reason you've bumped your head and forgotten how to write a paragraph, I have added this lovely cheat sheet to remind you of the parts of a paragraph. A paragraph always has a topic sentence, which tells the reader the main idea or what the paragraph will be about. You then have at least 3 supporting sentences that give specific details that relate to that main idea, and a paragraph always ends with a concluding sentence that sums up the main idea of the paragraph. And your paragraph is worth 10 points because it should be at least 5 sentences. So I'm going to take some time and I'm going to write my paragraph. I will let you pause the video and write your paragraph. If you want, stay tuned and I will show you mine. Okay, and I'm back. So I wrote my paragraph about why I'm going to write about the bubonic plague. So I am going to read you my paragraph and then I'm just going to remind you of the different parts of that paragraph. My paragraph reads, I am going to write my informational article on the bubonic plague. I am interested in the bubonic plague because I did research on it for a project. Oh, that should say for some former student. Wait. I did research on it for a project some former students did during my first year of teaching, and I recently listened to a really interesting podcast about it. I know that the bubonic plague was caused by unsanitary conditions and caused some really gross symptoms, including death. One of the most interesting things about it is all the weird and wacky treatments people tried to cure it. All of these things will help me to write an interesting informational article on the bubonic plague. So notice I have a topic sentence. That's my first sentence that tells you what I'm going to write about. Then I have 3 supporting sentences. My first supporting sentence says why I want to write about it. And my last 2 supporting sentences give some more information telling what I actually know about the topic. And then my concluding or closing sentence reminds the reader what I'm going to be writing my article about. So because I did all of those things, I am going to get 10 out of 10 points. And now that you know what to do, you can get your 10 out of 10 points on this side and your 20 points out of 20 points on the back for a total of 30 points.